One of the least discussed parts of the golf swing is how to position your feet at setup, and yet this simple idea can have such a dramatic impact on your golf game. Today I'm going to share with you 5 reasons why you should be flaring your feet out and the benefits that that can have not just to your golf game but also to your health. So foot flare is discussing the position and the rotation of the feet at setup. Conventional wisdom would have spoken for a long time about having the feet forwards or pointing out perpendicular to the target line. There's some logic to that. It's certainly how I see a lot of beginner golfers start their journey. There's no reason for them to think that your feet should do anything different. Some people will also discuss the idea of the front foot being turned out, and that's a start in the right direction for sure. But turning both your feet out at setup is not only demonstrated by the game's best players, there's so many benefits to your game that you're missing out on if you're not doing this. The first one is increased turn in the backswing, and who doesn't want to do that more? The reason you increase your turn in the backswing is because the right foot, as you turn it out, encourages and allows the hip to open up and turn more in the backswing. Try it for yourself. If you're able to stand up right now, start with your feet turned in at setup, so the toes pointing forward or even pinched slightly inwards, and make a backswing and notice just down around your hip area what that feels like. For me, it's extremely tight and extremely restricted. If I was to go back as far as I can, it feels about as much as I can manage. Conversely, if I turn my feet out, this back foot for sure, I've now got much more range of motion in my hip. This is much freer, and I'm able to create more backswing turn, which ultimately is a good thing for all of us. Secondly, having your feet turned out, and in particular on this occasion let's talk about the front foot, it helps you to make a more centered, stable backswing. And who doesn't want to do that? The reason for that would be having the foot turned out encourages the knee's trajectory to be a little more down and a little more forwards. So as you turn the hip, the knee moves down and slightly inwards. What's the mistake I see? Toes turned in, knees start to work inwards, they collapse, there's more sway of the body away from the target. So turning the toes out, turning the feet out, encourages the trajectory of the knee to be different, a little bit more down and forwards, which helps you to make a more centered backswing, more stable. And we know from previous discussions that that has so many benefits in terms of ball striking consistency, compression, and improved contact. So the second reason you want to turn your feet out is a more centered backswing. The third reason, and that's improved weight shift in the follow through. We know from previous videos how important it is that the weight's moving forward at impact and continuing to move forward into the follow through. Turning the foot out again encourages the trajectory of the knee and the pelvis to start going more forwards, and as you finish the swing it's easier to balance up on this front foot with the foot turned out. Conversely, having feet turned too straight, particularly that front foot, limits how forward you can go and actually encourages you to turn more. That would look like the golfer whose pelvis is too far back at impact and into the follow through. The lack of weight shift towards the target is causing you to hit behind the ball, it's causing you to hit heavy, it's causing you to top, thin, and hit those high, weak shots that lose distance. So the third reason you want to turn your feet out, and this time we're talking front foot, is to encourage that increased and improved weight shift in the downswing and the follow through. Reason number 4, more potential power. If you want to hit the ball further, turn your feet out because it increases the range in which you can turn your hips and your shoulders. We've also already talked about that. And that increased shoulder turn and hip turn gives us greater depth in the backswing and travel of the golf club as a whole. So the further behind me my hands, arms and club can get, the more time and the more distance I've got to pull on this club in the downswing, create more speed and ultimately hit the ball further. Equally on the follow through, I'm going to be able to keep turning into this front foot, transfer my weight as we've already talked about, the additional power benefits that you get from turning your feet out are multiple, and this stuff's all for free. It's so simple. There's no practice required, there's no training required. Just go ahead and set up to the ball, turn your feet out 20, 30 degrees, and go ahead and hit balls, and notice the difference in how much freer the swing feels and how much further you can hit the ball. The fifth reason for turning your feet out at setup could be the most important: reducing stress on your joints, increasing the body's range of motion safely, and reducing the risk of injury, something that many of you will want to be doing. If you're playing golf in any sort of pain, turning your feet out can have multiple benefits. It opens up the hips, it increases that ability to keep turning the hips, the knee flex changes that we've already talked about become easier to do. The knee's trajectory is safer. We're not getting this valgus or the caving in of the knee joints. I have seen so many people improve not just their golf and their ball striking, but the quality of life through turning their feet out at setup. They don't play in pain, and they don't suffer from pain hours and days after their golf game. So if you suffer with any sort of restrictions, if you notice that your swing is tight, you get problems in your back, your lower back, your glutes, your legs, if there's any sort of restrictions here that you're struggling with, stand up to the ball. You don't even need to hit shots. Just try this. Turn your feet out, both of them, and experiment with different amounts that might be more suitable to you. I've certainly told people in the past to do the feet different amounts depending on their particular issue. And I have had people with the right foot extremely turned out, or even the left foot extremely turned out, in order to create the necessary pieces that we want them to do. So if you can play around with your feet flare, change the foot flare more forward, more flared out with the front, more flared out with the back, experiment with those and just make some swings and see which one feels the most free, the most easy, the one that takes the most pressure off your body, and the one that allows you to play golf pain-free. That's what we're all looking for. Okay, last one. Here we go, driver, feet turned out. I'm going to give this one a rip. That one felt pretty good. Nice push draw, heading down the center of the fairway. Foot flare, a tiny subject that gets very little discussion. It's often overlooked, and it could be the big key and game changer that you're looking for. So go ahead and try turning your feet out at setup and seeing what it does for your golf game. This simple subject gets such little attention, and yet it's strange to me because there are so many benefits that golfers can gain from just turning their feet out. And as I've already said, these gains are free. They're free of charge. You don't have to go and practice much. This is an immediate impact and an immediate effect on your golf swing and on your body. Guys, if you enjoyed today's video, I really appreciate you hitting the subscribe button and the like button. Both of those things will help people to see the video more and help to continue to grow the channel. It's really good to see so many new subscribers join the channel recently. The community and the channel continues to grow, and I'm extremely happy to welcome you all on board. Now you know the secret of foot flare. If you want to discover the secrets to ball position that nobody else is telling you, then you want to watch this video next, which discusses the real secret behind positioning the ball with the different clubs, and the one part of the body that you should be using to check your ball position, and it isn't your feet.